Alrighty, now we're going to create our first mix. So we're on number 4 here. We're going to learn how to use a crossfader with 2 different songs, and we're going to look at BPMs, which are beat per minute, and we're going to talk about that and how that relates. So I'm going to my transitions DJ thing because now my playlists are here and are all synced. So I made a playlist earlier, which was my dance playlist, and it happens to be a lot of music from the 70s and 80s and early 90s that I'm familiar with. So I've picked 2 songs. So this is my playlist here. So I picked Can't Touch This. So you drag it up there for one. And I picked another one just to show you. And I picked a Wham song because I like it. And I put it over here. Now, what I want to look at is, as a DJ, how we pick songs and how one song, how we know which songs are going to play together and in sequence. So I want to look at this thing called BPM, which are beats per minute. And that's just like the speed of the song. So something with 88 beats per minute, it's a little bit slower than something that has 133 beats per minute, for example. Okay, so what that means is, so when you're dancing to one sort of like fast song, you can't just switch it to a slow song because that's going to be really, really awkward, like in a dance. They don't mix well. So the idea is as a DJ, if you are building up the order of songs that you're going to play, you want to pick, when you put one song and you transition to another, you want to pick 2 songs that are very similar to beats per minute. Now, with this, you can actually change the beats per minute. So let me show you something first. So what I've done is I picked something that has 133 beats per minute, and I have one that has 82 beats per minute. So those are good choices. But I just want to show you just some of the features on here and why that doesn't sound good. Okay, so I'm going to put, this is my crossfader. So again, we talked about how if I slide it all the way to one side, it plays everything on the left. And if I slide to the right, it plays everything to the right. And if it's in the middle, it plays both. So I'm going to start with MC Hammer, Can't Touch This. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to play then also this Wham song, and then I'm going to transition from one to the other so you can see how awkward the transition is. Okay, so I'm going to transition now to Wham. So we have to hit play. Okay, so if I was a DJ and I was going from a fast song, like MC Hammer Can't Touch Us to Wham, I wouldn't be a good DJ. It would be really awkward. It would kind of ruin the mood sort of on the dance floor. So there's 2 ways, there's 2 things that we can do. Is one, we can sync the beats per minute so that they match, or we can pick 2 songs that are similar. Now, this here, so Wham, if I want to sync it and match it to 133 beats per minute, I could actually hit sync. And what it does, you see, it's actually slowed it down by half because it couldn't like make it 133 beats per minute. That's how it worked. So that means it's actually gone slower. So let me just play it so you can hear what it sounds like. Let's listen to it with the other song. Okay, so the beats are better. So they're both not 133 beats per minute, but the Wham song is half of it. So the beats still sort of match, but the Wham song sounds kind of wonky, right? So I'm going to unsync those. So again, so I can actually manually change the beats per minute, which is the speed, and I'll just let you hear what it sounds like. This is the regular one. This is it super fast. So when you have to do a drastic change of beats per minute, it really makes the song not sound like it's supposed to. So the MC Hammer one actually sounds ridiculous. It sounds like the Chipmunks, right? Because if you make the speed faster, it makes all the notes sort of higher. And if you make it slower, it makes everything sort of lower. So you really want to avoid it. If it's very slightly different, if I was doing 133 beats per minute, 128 beats per minute, that's not so bad. It won't really change the song, but this is too big of a difference. So this is why this is a poor choice. So let's look at what a good choice would be. Okay, so Wham and MCV Can't Touch This doesn't sort of go well together. So let's find something else. I want to look at the beats per minute. If it doesn't have any beats per minute, then I'm not going to be able to sync it. There's other tricks and stuff to it. So I want to find something that it goes well with that's very close to, if not the same, to 133 beats per minute. I have, the Proclaimers. All right, so I think that would go well. So let me just switch that over. Okay, so here it's very, very close. So here what I could do is I can actually like fiddle around with it and try and like make them exact, or I just hit a sync button there and then automatically they sync them the same. So that means when I go from Can't Touch This to 500 miles, it's going to be a nice transition and I'm not sort of like ruining the mood. Okay, so one thing that I would try is I'm going to hit play on this one. Pathetic, right? Okay. And then I can slowly transition from one song to the other. Okay, so that's a better transition. Okay, so those two songs go well together. So on a side note, back in the day when they had records, it's not like a record came with beats per minute. So what actually they would do is they would actually count the beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, in their head when they're listening to a song. They would do that for 30 seconds, the DJ would, and then multiply it by 2 and come up with a number, which is their beat per minute. And then they would actually either write it in the center of the record or they would write it on the cover of the record. So that's how they knew in the beginning which sort of songs kind of go together. There are some songs then that don't come with beats per minute, and not on this program, but on good programs, there's actually ways to kind of get over that. You can actually tap it for 30 seconds and it automatically finds the beats per minute for you, and then it actually puts it on here. So that's just sort of a side note. So that's great. So the first step for a good mix is picking 2 songs that have similar beats per minute and making sure that those are synced. So it's a smooth transition from one song to another. Now, another part of that is beats per minute is this called beat matching. And this little bar-y thing up here, what that represents, it represents the 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So right now, if you look at this bar, they're not beat matched. One song is starting on the 1 beat, the 1, 2, and the second song is actually starting on the 2 beat, the 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that kind of makes it a little bit awkward. So how you get around this is that I would start by playing my first song. So I would play MC Hammer. I keep wanting to say MCVI. MC Hammer. I would start with that and I would count kind of in my head or I feel the beat. You kind of get intuitive with it. The 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when I start the second song is going to start also on that 1, 2, 3, 4 on that downbeat. So both of those will end up being a line. So right now this is not beat matched and I'm going to try and beat match it. And again, it's not the easiest thing to do with a mouse, but we'll try it. Okay, so I'm going to do my song. And I'm going to get ready to do my second song. You can't hear it. I did it. So they're both on the same thing. Okay. So again, another way to sort of have a good transition from one song to another. So if you start the second song, it isn't beat matched. So this is what beat match look like. If you try the second song and it's not beat matched, then you just stop it and then play it again. Okay, so it takes a little bit of practice. So again, so far there's a lot going on, just transitioning from one song to another. So you're going to try this. So pick 2 of your songs. You got to make sure that they have the beats per minute there that are similar to beats per minute and load them up. Hit the sync button so they are exactly synced, right? You don't want them to be a little bit off because then you can't beat match them and then it's awkward. And then play your first song with your crossfader all the way over to the left. Look at the beats here. Start your second song so that they're beat matched and then just play around transitioning back and forth. Okay, so it takes a little bit of practice, but give it a shot.